have the silvers.
Yeah, definitely. And we are going to get started here. Link's house, just a piece, heart container, piece of heart in the sanctuary. And looks like Mentos is going to be doing the Link start as well.
Yeah, so we do have Uncle assured, so these players, I assume, are going to go straight to Uncle to grab that sword. Khloe Prower using, actually, which is my favorite sprite, the Fox Link. Mentosman has, what do you call that? Outline Link or Neon Link?
I think it's Neon Link, if I'm not mistaken.
Alright. And Mentosman searching for someone to kill with that sign. Can't kill the Stalfos.
He really wants to see us in that tree pole.
Yeah. That's quite a bit of time investment for that tree pole, but maybe it'll pay off for him. No, just
Yeah, not really, unfortunately. So with that sword, looks like Khloe is going to be jumping right into the front of Hyrule Castle here, which can be a little dangerous because you never know what you're going to find in these rooms. But, you know, 3 free items, we are right here, and we do have a weapon, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and especially without that lamp, you won't be able to do the dark rooms very easily. It's always dangerous to go into dark rooms in Randomizer, since, you know, even if you have the room memorized, you're not going to know what enemy you're going to face in there.
That's true. You could come face to face with one of those Turtle Rock rolling pins, for all you know, and you know, in these little short hallways, you may not be able to avoid taking a hit, and that could be very, very dangerous. So, have to be very, very careful as we're going through here.
Yeah, especially with these giant spikes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of room to dodge them.
And a lot of Dark World enemies too, and they really, really put on the damage. So you even just taking a hit, just grazing up against you, you got to be careful.
There's our Moon Pearl. So, not going to have to search for that.
Yeah, it's going to be 1/3 of our Dark World access for right now, as they're going to be looking for either both pairs of gloves or a pair of gloves and the hammer, as we'll see later.
Khloe Prower picking up that 20 rupee drop. Rupees, of course, very important in the early game.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And just 10 arrows at the very end, so Khloe is going to be saving and quitting, and more than likely going to Sanctuary to get working on the Kakariko checks.
Yep. Yeah, so not too much out of escape aside from that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, that Moon Pearl and the satisfaction of knowing that, well, okay, I made it through the first half of escape with no major problems with enemies anyway.
It also might be a while, if ever, that we see a map check. With this being all dungeons, it's not super important what are the pendants and crystals. Khloe gets a really nice 8-bomb drop or tree pole. So there are different levels of tree poles, or tiers as we call them. So the first tier you get after killing 1 enemy, and the second tier you get after killing 4 enemies but taking damage, and the third tier you get after killing 4 enemies without taking any damage. So each tier has a random item.
Mm-hmm. And having that information could kind of save you a little bit of time, especially in these early checks when you need bombs and rupees, for example. So it's always important to give those a check. There is a glove upgrade inside the forest here. There was also a piece of heart, I believe, on the lumberjack. And I think Mentos just saw rupees on the race game.
Yeah, so we're already 2/3 of the way towards Dark World. 50 rupees, not too bad to find there. Did you see what was on the library?
I unfortunately missed it.
Oh, Khloe will probably check it.
Yeah, we'll more than likely see it again, so.
Piece of heart in the tavern.
Thankfully, we have a very nice Kuko hut today. No other enemies inside because they do count Kukos as enemies in Randomizer.
Yeah, this room can be pretty terrifying sometimes. As Mentos finds the ether medallion in there.
Khloe finding some bombs and rupees so far in the greenhouse and some arrows. And even more rupees.
Chat confirming there was just a blue rupee on the library.
Okay. But that ether medallion is actually a really, really nice find in Randomizer, especially when you get to something like the early dungeons like Eastern Palace that has like a kill room. You can kind of use the ether medallion to kind of get rid of some of the enemies, or at least freeze enemies so they're not bothering you too much.
Yep.
Got a blue mail inside the well here.
Yeah, that is the maximum mail we'll be finding today.
That's right, because that's a stipulation of hard mode, as well as 2 heart pieces and the hammer. We have Dark World access.
Wow, just 6.5 minutes. 6.5 minutes in Dark World access. So this seed opening up pretty wide very early.
Yeah, they'll have a lot of decisions. They may opt to kind of stick with Light World just because there are a lot of checks left, but, you know, making a strong play on Dark World, that could be an interesting play as well, so we'll have to see what they decide to do with that.
Both runners kind of retracing each other's steps now.
So again, one thing I like to remind viewers is for the Randomizer settings in particular for the tournament, the only thing that are actually, the only settings that are actually messed with are the just normal enemy shuffle. So enemies will be shuffled amongst the both worlds and dungeons, but health and the damage they do stays consistent to what it is in the normal vanilla game. And the Chaos Boss Shuffle is also added as well. So that means you can pretty much find any boss at any boss arena with a few stipulations, like some bosses don't work in specific arenas. Obviously, those are omitted, but you can find up to like 5 Trinexes if you're unlucky, or you could get 0 Trinexes. So that's pretty much how the Chaos setting works.
Yep. So Khloe is going to head down towards the South Shore. We'll see where Mentosman goes next. Looks like he might. Oh.
Yeah, I think he's thinking about Dark World.
Yeah. Can't quite find his way through the Lost Woods there.
Yeah, you're never usually like used to looking for the Dark World portal in this circumstance. You always go up north from Kakariko, so it can be kind of confusing to get through here.
Yeah. But he is going to go into the Dark World, while Khloe Prower also into the Dark World in Hype Cave. Just a bottle in there. I missed what was the NPC item.
It was nothing relevant. I don't remember what it was, but I wrote it off immediately. So
yeah, just a bottle with a B, so not too much in Hype Cave today.
And that's something else you got to look out for too. Bushes also can randomly have enemies as well, and you know, especially in the race game, that can really throw you off and, you know, kind of get you an unavoidable death.
Yeah, I saw the race the other day where someone was trying to go through the race game and 2 guards, not just 1, 2 guards popped out at them, and they died pretty quickly.
Yeah, that can happen. That can definitely happen.
Khloe finds a red boomerang from Stumpy.
And Mentos going to be checking out the bombable hut here. The flippers.
Alright, this game is opening up even more. Prower going through the dig game as Mentosman finds the bug net in the C-shaped house.
And Khloe Prower gonna save and quit because doesn't have a way to go up north into the village of outcasts. So gonna be, looks like he's gonna be going around again to do what Mentosman is basically doing, as Mentos takes his first steps into Thieves Town here.
Yep. And finds a fire rod.
Immediately rewarded with that.
Now, Thieves Town is kind of an interesting dungeon in Randomizer. You do not have to go to the back to bomb open the floor and rescue the maiden. You can just get the big key and go straight to the boss room. So that kind of makes the back of Thieves Town just this out-of-the-way area. It's kind of another left side swamp, really.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way to describe it. And if you're lucky enough, you can get like 3 items in the front and then kind of gamble on the boss having the last item, and then you could be good to go without even going to the back at all. But yeah, we'll have to see if that actually plays out. The odds are kind of low for that to happen, but it could happen.
₹300. Khloe Prower going to check out the south shore of the light world.
Okay, well, we did get a small key, so that means there is going to be at least 1 item in the back.
And on Khloe Prower's side, we found the Cane of Samaria in the damp.
Ooh, nice.
Alright, is Mentos gonna head straight into the boss room? He is.
He is, and Helmasaur King.
So that's a boss we can beat now. Shouldn't be too difficult. Although, without that bow, it actually might be a little bit more challenging than usual.
Yeah, I believe we can, once we get to phase 2, we can use spin attacks with fighters. So, no, we can... Oh, he's using the hammer method still. Okay. Gotta be careful, though.
Yeah.
But he gets it.
Khloe Prower going to use Ether to take care of the mini Moldorm cave. Alright, a couple of big items. We get the Quake Medallion off of Blind, and Khloe Prower finds the hook shot.
Yeah, and Mentosman gets his first pendant, and since this is all dungeon, that's not a bad thing at all. We're going to need those pendants in order to fight Ganon, so...
Now, in an all-dungeon seed, the normal troll locations like Lumberjack and Pedestal aren't that big a deal, since you have to do Aghanim and the pendants anyway. But if you are looking to troll these runners, you might throw a required item in Ganon's Tower. For example, you can find the Ice Rod in Ganon's Tower if it's not required for any crystal dungeons.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, Mentos having a little trouble getting through that spike and fire bar there, but does make it through. Needs to be careful in these last rooms, though.
Yeah. Khloe Prower doing Ice Rod Cave, just getting some bombs, and Mentos taking a death in the Hellway, unfortunately.
We'll see. He is going to keep on trying for that item, though. He knows there's 1 item left in the back somewhere, and once he gets that item, he can just mirror out, no problem. But, that item could be in the attic, so halfway through, or it could even be at the very end in the big chest, so gonna need to be careful to make it all the way down there.
Khloe Prower doing a fake flipper because he has not been to Village of Outcasts yet. And this is pretty dangerous in Randomizer because you don't know what enemies you're going to be facing, and if you get hit, you just die.
Does make it past the Octorok, though, so...
And we got a lamp in the waterfall cave. So this lamp is, for Khloe, it's out of logic, but we do know where the flippers are.
Also, a mean enemy spawn on top of the hint here in Thieves Town. And it's a bad hint too, huh?
And we see a shovel on the Zora's ledge.
Ooh, okay. Khloe got lucky right there because if the knockback from the enemy put him in a very weird position, he could have been potentially soft locked, but thankfully was able to make it back on solid land at the very least.
Yep. And Khloe having just barely enough money to go to Zora, so we'll see what we have today.
Ooh.
Oh no. That's rough. Those slugs, I think, do 4 hearts of damage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do a lot, because normally you'd find them in Misery Mire, and they kind of expect you to have blue mail at that point, which we do have, but they're still very, very, very brutal.
Yeah. Mentosman, interestingly, is going to go back and try again. I don't know. Personally, I think at this point, I'd come back later for it. It's just one item, but he's determined.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get like 2 unique items in the dungeon already, like, you know, you kind of, that's when it kind of feels a bit safer to maybe gamble on an item not being anything, but I also just understand the fear of leaving something very important behind, so.
Yeah. So Khloe can use that lamp to go up Death Mountain, which we have not seen yet. Actually, with the hookshot and hammer, Khloe can clear out quite a few things on Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and we get the bow from the old man here.
That's a nice find.
Yeah, and all dungeons Randomizer seed like this one. The bow, obviously, you'd imagine would be required because it's required in a normal open and standard seed no matter what. But with Randomizer, really the only bow block is the statue in Palace of Darkness, which if this was Defeat Ganon and Pod was a pendant, we would not need the bow at all. But in this case, because it's all dungeons, we will need it just for that one thing.
Yep. Mentosman only finding a compass in the attic upstairs. So he's got to go downstairs for that last item. Khloe finding the magic cape in Spectacle Rock Cave. I read the hint, but I did not see what it was.
It was some cash in Hookshot Cave.
Okay. Manto's deciding just to use that ether medallion to get through here.
And not a bad call to make, and we'll be checking the big chest first. Less enemies over here, and finds the map, so we have to go to the Maiden's chest now. Or where the Maiden would be, anyway.
Yeah, Mento's really hoping for an important item here, because Khloe may decide to skip this.
Ooh.
The boots! Alright, well, that is worth it.
Yeah, that was definitely worth coming back in for.
Boy, is Mentos ever happy he stuck with it there. I sure would have left.
Mm-hmm.
So those boots could be a required item, depending on if they lock anything or if Desert Palace's boots lock. But that is huge for Mentos. He really needed to find something important there.
Yeah, definitely. And as for Khloe, there is a chance Khloe will at some point get a hint, because in version 30 with the telepathic tile hints, You'll be guaranteed one hint in every seed that will basically point to where the boots are. So, you know, there's a good chance Chloe's going to get that hint and will know that the boots are somewhere in Thieves Town. So,
yeah, but the problem is it may also just say a unique item, and
true.
I think there was the fire rod in there, so he may
The
also
fire
just
rod
think it's the fire rod.
And Quake too, for that matter.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that is a good point, though. That's a very good point.
Khloe getting welcomed to the top of Death Mountain by a giant roller that's almost impossible to avoid there.
Yeah. I'd say those are definitely like the worst obstacles in Randomizer, because yeah, but literally there's no way to avoid them, and with where they can spawn, like they can spawn like right on top of an entrance or a doorway or something. So
yeah. So Khloe gonna go up to Tower of Hera. Red rupee is the first item.
And the first hint we have is armor is in Kakariko Well, which we're already aware of at this point.
Khloe gonna have to fit through that spike there.
Yeah, because I don't think you can hookshot onto those bigger torches, so yeah, I think you kind of had to either... I guess if you had them either... Oh, I guess we did have the cape, so could have used the cape, but...
Yeah, although in hard mode, the cape uses double the magic. Chloe's pretty low on magic. That would have lasted probably like a second at most.
That's true. Looks like we just have 50 rupees here on the pyramid, and looks like Mentos going up to check Catfish now.
Oh no, Khloe.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
okay.
It gets out of it. That can happen. I've had that happen before, and I did not have the Cane of Samaria, and yeah, you just get stuck on that tile and you can't get out. And I think that's like a pixel perfect spot too. So I was very unlucky for that to happen, but was able to get out with the cane.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take a death warp here.
Mentos going to check Catfish.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, it's the mirror.
What a great place to get that, too. My gosh. Mentos.
Yeah. Deegan's mirror go straight to Zora. He'll get his hook shot here.
Lamp, I believe.
Oh, lamp, that's right.
Hookshot, I think, was Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah.
And because Mentos does have the flippers, he will be able to pick up that shovel as well.
Yeah. So we'll see if that shovel leads to anything. Mentosman really being rewarded for going to some of these out-of-the-way locations.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, sometimes it can be a huge time sink, but when you do find an item, that is a massive advantage.
For sure, and you know, you got to think about also... Looks like we got our good friend Helmasaur here in Tower of Hera, which is not a friendly position for this boss just because of that one little hole. Helmasaur seems to have the knowledge that you can fall down that hole, so he will be kind of standing behind it quite a bit in this fight.
Yeah. We also see the graphics glitch out a bit. This happens sometimes when you have a boss that's normally in a small room, appears in this big room. His legs get, I guess, drawn twice.
Yeah, something like that. But Khloe does take out Helmasaur using the bow very effectively to kind of get some distance and take the fight.
And just a blue rupee as the second item, but does finish another dungeon. And it is green pendant, so he'll be able to go and check that when he heads over to the eastern area.
You know, which at this point, you know, barring any like potential extra boss requirements, we can actually potentially full clear both of those dungeons at once because we have both the hammer and bow now.
Yep. So we can check out Spike Cave.
And Mentos gets his hook shot.
Khloe just getting some cash, just barely makes through Spike Cave. Ran out of magic at the end and finished on just 1 heart.
Very nicely done. Yeah, looks like Khloe is going to be heading over to the eastern and pod area and try to take on both those dungeons, like we said. Also turning in that green pendant as well.
Khloe, without the mirror, though, we'll have to do the dungeons one at a time.
Yeah, that's true.
Just 10 arrows for the green pendant. Couple of heart pieces. So not much in Sash's closet, but heart pieces are a little bit more valuable in hard mode.
Yeah, they really are. You know, some of the heart containers and heart pieces are actually removed from the item pool. So because of that, you know, you'll find health less often in general. So whenever you do kind of come across some health, it's definitely a welcome find for sure.
Mento's gonna open the dam. Actually could go into Swamp and full clear it, unless he has to face Trinex.
I do really like this play. In version 30, it seems like there's been quite a bias towards Swamp having progression, especially if you have all the items to get through it, so yeah.
And Mentos just checked that hint saying the boots are in Thieves Town, so yeah, Khloe fortunately will get that hint whenever he heads to Swamp. But first has to go to Catfish to get the mirror.
Yeah, that's true. He will be able to still check the hint, though, even without the mirror, because thankfully with that hint, you can access that without doing the damn stuff, so...
Yeah, but the mirror might push him in that direction.
Exactly,
Mentos,
yeah.
By the way, yeah, Mentos, by the way, finding the flute in the first chest in Swamp.
Again, much like the bow for that one statue in pod, when you're doing all dungeons, flute will definitely be required. It will be our only access to the mire area to take on Misery Mire, so definitely a good find, and just will also give them faster access to the light world too.
Yeah. Yeah, so Khloe missing the boots and the flute is going to be going quite a bit slower until he makes that play. Oh, look at that. He just got a hint for the mirror.
That's a good place to get that.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, that hint, I think, is going to kind of negate Mentos' advantage a little bit. Because Khloe will know to... Oh, look at this room. Not
Yeah.
enough magic to use the Ether Medallion.
Gonna have to use some B strats here.
Yeah, that's a reasonable play. Oh, gets a full magic drop. How convenient.
Ooh, Mentos does take a death inside Swamp Palace here. But yeah, that room in Eastern Palace, I mean, you gotta think, in the vanilla version of the game, there's 6 of those Popo enemies, as well as 2 Igors, so that's just 8 enemies that just randomize into, you know, enemies that you can at least kill with your vanilla equipment, but it's still a lot of enemies, so it could be pretty brutal.
Yeah, same with this room, 8 enemies in here. So let's see what Chloe's gonna face. Another Helmasaur. That's our 3rd Helmasaur.
Yeah, I think we've seen only Helmasaurs so far.
Mento's gonna go ahead and clear out left side of swamp. Holy moly, look at all these spikes.
Yeah, I believe this is what actually got him earlier. Understandably so.
Yeah. And he forgot to flip the switch.
Ooh, okay, yeah, so that unfortunately could cost him some time. Meanwhile, Helmet is down again, gets the map and a crystal. I was kind of hoping that to be a 3rd pendant, so Helmet would be guarding all 3 pendants.
Oh no, Mentos took another death.
That may not actually be too bad just due to the crystal switch thing.
Yeah, maybe he'll remember to flip it this time. Or actually, I guess he won't need to flip it since he's already drained the left side.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so may have kind of lucked out in that because I think the switch is reset.
Khloe Prower heading back to the Dark World. Yeah, I guess gonna go straight to Catfish for that mirror.
Well, Khloe hasn't actually done a whole lot on the Dark World, so getting that mirror would be a good call. There's a lot of kind of very one-off mirror locations that you can kind of that are difficult to route in later on in the seed, so it's good to kind of get that now.
Yeah. Of course, without the boots, this is a much slower trek.
Unfortunately, just a green rupee in one of the chests in the west side of Swamp and the big key.
Alright, so we'll see what the big key chest has. Or the big chest, rather. More rupees there.
And inside the big chest, we have just the compass.
Alright, so left side swamp not paying off this time.
And Khloe gets the mirror, so that's one of the 2 items that Mentos has found that kind of gave him a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't mirror back to go grab that shovel. Maybe thinking it's a bit too much time for one item.
Maybe.
Gonna turn in that mushroom though. I don't think that's gonna work. I think he needs to do it. Oh, it does work.
No, it does work, yeah.
I thought you had to do a screen transition there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Khloe doesn't have the flippers yet, so couldn't get the shovel.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And inside Swamp Palace, we have Swampula here. Mothula actually pretty easy without the conveyor belt and the spikes. Mothula's really not that hard.
Almost easier than some of the overworld enemies.
Yeah.
And Khloe is gonna head towards Pod, so we'll get our first look at that dungeon.
And yeah, we'll be able to complete that dungeon as well. Now looks like Mento is going to be going back up this way. We'll be able to route in that shovel check as well as Cave 45.
Khloe facing more of these giant spikes. We've seen a ton of them so far in this scene.
Oh, there's the mitts in the shovel spot.
Ooh. Yeah, Khloe might not be going back there for a while. And the seed that's just placing a lot of items at just really trolly locations. We had Back of Thieves Town boots, we had Catfish with the mirror, and now we have the shovel on Zora Ledge leading to the Titan's mitts.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow Mentosman managed to find all of those things. Just being very thorough, I guess.
Very thorough and very persistent, too. You know, definitely took a lot of deaths in Thieves Town just to get those boots, which, you know, boots could be required, and they're just a faster way to get through the seed in general. And, you know, even had a few deaths in Swamp Palace, too, but still kept on going. So being very persistent with his plays here, and that is definitely good to see.
Yeah. Again, sometimes that persistence, you know, often it just results in losing time, but when you do find a big item, it is massive.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we do get a hint that we're already aware of in Palace of Darkness, saying the big key of Hera requires fire, which Khloe at this point is already taken care of.
Just some bombs from the blacksmiths. I really like these kind of wide open seeds where you get a lot of access to stuff early on. It just really shows just how little decisions can make pretty huge differences.
Yeah, definitely.
Sick kid just with a fiver for us. And Mentos going to activate the flute.
And if Mentos goes immediately to Death Mountain, he will be in a position where, like, obviously he still needs a sword upgrade, and, you know, we don't know if the Ice Rod's going to be required yet, since we haven't seen any Trinexes yet, but could be in kind of a go mode-ish state, but you still kind of want to be on the lookout for those swords, and, of course, the Ice Rod, just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We really do have most of the items we need.
And I guess we also need the Mire and Turtle Rock medallion requirements too, but, you know, 2/3 of the medallion's not too bad.
And Khloe going straight back to the boss of Pod.
Another room that's kind of bad, but just going to use the Ether Medallion to get rid of everything.
Mentosman checking out Skull Woods. Alright, what do we have at Pod? Armos Knights. Well, we got the bows. This should not be too difficult.
I'm actually surprised the spikes aren't messing with the Armos Knights here.
Yeah. And so he's going to go back in and clear out the rest of Pod.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting that Helmasaur King was the boss of Eastern, and then the Armos Knights were the boss of Palace of Darkness.
That mini Helmasaur did not want to let Mentosman through.
Nope. Mentos actually showing off that the Hinoxes are actually incredibly weak to your own bombs. So if you use your own bombs, you'll actually take them out in one hit.
Yeah. Khloe having a bit of trouble with that collapsing bridge, but finally decides to use the hook shot to get through.
And in Mothula's room, we have the Lamnolus. I'm just going to need to be careful here, down to one more heart. Oh, unfortunately, it does take a death there.
Yeah, that sword recoil launching him right into the spikes.
Yeah, Mothula's arena is very, very tough to deal with in Randomizer for really any of the bosses, I'd say, because it's just a very small room. The conveyor belt really messes up with your movements. It's just... you never have a fun fight there.
Yeah, so Khloe finishes up with Pod. Not really much of value in there. Does find the silvers, though.
Silvers will definitely help out with, you know, Lamnolus here, and also if we ever run into Vitreous as well.
We're gonna check Sick Kid. And Mentosman round 2 with Lanmolas. Can use the hammer this time.
Hitbox a little harder to work with, but it'll do more damage.
And Khloe's finally gonna make his way to the Village of Outcasts. We'll pick up the Flippers and maybe the Boots if he goes all the way through Thieves Town.
Meanwhile, Mentos down to just one more Sand Snake left. And he gets him.
And so both players with 3 dungeons complete. 3 different dungeons each.
Yeah, that is really interesting how that's kind of came to be, but looks like Khloe going to be working on Skullwoods next.
And where's Mentosman gonna head? Oh, he didn't do the front of Skullwoods yet.
Or the big chest, at the very least. Oh, no, he hasn't done other stuff either. Oh yeah, that's right. Silvers don't even really work in this mode. That's for Vitreous, so you can only use them in Ganon, that's right.
Oh yeah. And Mentosman finished with Skullwoods now. I guess you can check maybe Bonk Rocks and can see what's on the bumper ledge. He doesn't have the cape yet, so he can't get it.
Just 10 arrows, though, so not going to worry about that. He's also going to take this opportunity to check the Lumberjack item, because he hasn't checked that yet.
Alright, Mentos gonna go over and check out Bonk Rocks, and I assume Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. Or maybe, did he do Bonk Rocks already?
I don't think he has, because I think that once he kind of got the boots, he kind of just stayed. Like, I don't think he's ever saved and quit since that point. I think he's just doing this first, so like once he finishes this, he can actually stay in the light world, get King's Tomb, get Bonk Rocks, and then probably mirror up to the top.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or flute up to the top, rather.
Khloe grabbing his flippers.
Now it'll be a waiting game in terms of... Oh, there's a Master Sword. Boots blocked. But yeah, it'll be kind of a waiting game determines when Khloe will return to Zora area for that shovel, which will lead to the myths.
Yeah. And we'll also see, does Khloe go to the back and grab those boots? Because he's not been to Swamp yet, so he doesn't have that hint.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Gets the fire rod.
Oh, yeah, and that put Khloe in a position where he has to double dip Skull Woods too, because he didn't have the fire rod to finish it when he would check the initial stuff. So we got one last check here inside Hyrule Castle. Heart container, definitely a good find, I'd say.
Yep. Where's Mentos gonna go next? Still hasn't been to Death Mountain yet. We could also check out the Mire area too.
He's going to Death Mountain, so he will get his bow here when he brings the old man back, so that's going to be good for him.
Yeah, he'll be able to check the Turtle Rock Medallion as well, and do Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave.
And if he does have the right medallion, he can opt to even just finish Turtle Rock, the only circumstance being if it's Vanilla Trinex, he won't be able to finish it, but that's only a 1/10 chance of happening, because I believe any boss can be in Trinex's room.
Yeah. Alright, Khloe facing off against Helmasaur. Down to half a heart. Gonna go ahead and use that blue potion.
Mentos actually showing off some hover strats to grab the cape over there.
Alright, Khloe finishes Helmasaur and gets the Quake Medallion. Now this is an important point. Does Khloe go back in to grab those boots from the back?
We'll have to see here what he decides to do. He is not going for the boots.
So he will get it eventually, assuming he checks that swamp hint. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he decides it's not worth the time.
Yeah, because that is the thing. Boots, not necessarily required, at least that we know of yet. We have Hookshot, so we can get into Mire just fine. Again, the only question is the big key of Desert blocked behind the torch in Desert? And, of course, is the GT big key on the torch in Ganon's Tower. So we'll have to see if that plays off. And that is true. The boots are blocking a sword. But that shouldn't be relevant unless both swords both of the other swords are on tablets.
Khloe heading down to Swamp now. And hopefully checks this hint.
Probably won't feel too good once he realizes he left behind the boots, though. But that's just kind of randomizer for you. It's a statistical gamble.
Yeah, I certainly don't blame him for the decision. I mean, there's one item left, and it's a lot of time investment to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, knowing that it is the boots, We'll see if he goes back for it. Yeah, it does get the hint.
Honestly, it could even be a case where, like, he might even check Desert pretty soon after this to see if boots will be required before he makes the play back into Thieves Town.
Yeah, but the thing is, Khloe doesn't even have access to Desert right now. No book, no Titansmith.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
Does get the flute, though.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this Helmasaur fight from Mentosman8. As we mentioned before, Helma really does love that hole. Knows the hole is definitely the runner's kryptonite, so going to try to stay around that as much as possible. Looks like he's kind of cooperating, though. Gives Mentos an opening, so now Mentos can finish off the rest of this fight, no problem. And there we go. Helmasaur is down. That is dungeon number 4 for Mentosman. Yeah, looks like Khloe going to go straight to the back of Swamp Palace. There is one item on the west side. We know it's the green rupee. So definitely not a required item. I'll have to see if Khloe decides if skipping that item after he's done here, it will be worth it or not. It's always a big gamble to ignore that left side. But if he feels behind, he may feel pressured to make that gamble.
Blue Boomerang in Spiral Cave.
Yeah, I guess we didn't see that from Khloe, because Khloe does not have it, so...
Yeah, Khloe did Spike Cave instead, I think.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. Getting a question, what can be on pedestal? Honestly, we have not seen really any map checks, I don't think, so we don't even know what the last pendant is, so we can't really even make that guess yet.
And again, pedestal in all dungeons, not really such a huge deal, since you do have to do the pendants anyway.
Exactly.
What'll be more interesting is, you know, could we find this ice rod in GT, or possibly one of the medallions? Well, Bombos is the only one we don't have, if it's required for Mire or Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chat making a good point. We've done a couple of dungeons where Trinex cannot spawn. So, you know, that Trinex possibility is still definitely out there for him to pop up.
And we're going to get a check here of the Turtle Rock medallion. And it is Bombos.
Ooh, okay.
So Bombos will be required.
And it's a pendant.
Okay, so yeah. If you're looking for trolls, Bombos in Ganon's Tower, that could be one. Alright, not much in Hookshot Cave. Looks like Khloe Prower is deciding to do left side swamp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does not want to miss out on anything important. Unfortunately, it will be the green rupee. Also, did Mentos check Super Bunny Cave?
I didn't see it, but I would guess he did. I would be surprised if he missed it. Potions refill all of your hearts in hard mode in Spike Cave only.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting fact to know, and it's done that way just to keep the logic consistent between the modes.
Yeah. Another thing is Cane of Burna, actually in hard mode, aside from Spike Cave, it will actually not make you invincible. You can still hurt enemies with it who can be hurt by Cane of Burna, but you do not get that invincibility that you'd get in normal or easy difficulty.
Yeah, and we
So,
see Quake is required for Misery Mire. One thing to note that Cane of Burna does actually give you invincibility in any spike rooms, such as the ones in Ice Palace or Misery Mire. But it cannot be used to protect you from enemies.
Yeah, so basically where it's logically, required to progress you, then it'll be fine there. But just in normal, like against Blind, for example, that will not be the case. So we're going to see if those boots that we found are going to be required for Desert Palace next.
Yeah. And Khloe heading back up here into the Dark World. I'm guessing we'll do Skullwoods and then probably head into Thieves Town to grab those boots.
Well, we know the boots are not going to be required for Desert Palace. It's just a single arrow is in plain sight there.
Yep. And Khloe, I think, just wants to grab those boots first.
Yeah, you gotta think that when it comes to Desert Palace, like, having the big key on the torch, having the small key that could lead to the big key on the torch, or even just having a unique item on the torch, it's definitely a gamble to go without those. And there is the Ice Rod inside Desert, so we are now Trinix covered.
So we're just a bombos away from go mode.
Yes, we are. So I imagine a kind of a safe play for Mentos to make right now would be to just kind of focus on dungeons at the moment. See if you can maybe find Bombos in there while you're making progress. Get access to Ganon's Tower, and then once you do that, just kind of see if it's in Ganon's tower, and then you can pretty much approach it from there.
Yeah.
Looks like Argus has a new home here in Desert Palace.
Yeah. Straight from the swamp into the desert. Khloe making his way to the basement to get those boots. Mentos missing the first cycle, but gets it done.
Okay, so now Mentos going to be taking the portal back to the Dark World, now going to be focusing on Misery Mire. I don't think we've gotten any hints for the fire side of Misery Mire yet, so that could be a potential check in here.
Yeah. Alright, Khloe finally getting the boots.
But now something Khloe will really need to get right now. We'll need to, at some point, go back to the Zora area to get that shovel, which will lead to that Titan's Mitts, because that's one thing that's kind of holding Khloe back right now.
Yeah. And Khloe's going to do all these boot checks here, so maybe can route Zora into that.
Yeah, that would be probably the closest opportunity we'd have to be back in that area, so that would be a good play. Does pick up the Master Sword, so does have a second sword upgrade now. I believe Quake was on the Thieves Town boss, which means Khloe does have it, so...
Yeah. First item, just a red rupee. And one thing in Khloe's favor is if Mentos finds Bombos before heading to Pod, he's probably not going to get those silver arrows.
That's true.
Which will only help on Ganon, but if they do finish with the Master Sword, that will save a lot of time.
Yeah, it really will.
Khloe running out of options here is going to head over to Agina's cave.
Which I do not remember if we've seen this or not, so this could be a new find.
Just rupees.
Now, will Mentos check the hint that's up here? He will. Ooh, that would have been nice to know earlier, but...
Still, it's the big key, so it doesn't tell you what's in the big chest.
That's true, yeah, that's another good point. But then, if he did item counting, like he'd know that anyway. The big chest would have been nothing when he did get the Swamp Palace. But conditionals.
Khloe's heading back over to Death Mountain. I think Spiral Cave, and yeah, I think may just last location those Titans mitts.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Unfortunately, just the shuffle never feels like a strong indication like it might be required because it's just a fetch quest item, but in this case it just happened to lead to those Titan Smiths.
Second item in Mire is 300 rupees. So Mento's just going to head to the boss. It doesn't matter which boss it is, actually. We can beat all of them now.
Mm-hmm.
Khloe, I think... Oh, Khloe might not have checked the dark chest in the sewers.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
I thought maybe he was going to go to Aghanim for a minute, but yeah, he's got this check. Hopefully he hasn't forgotten about the shovel, because it is kind of an easy thing to forget about.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he checked that a long time ago. This was like an early Light World check for him, I believe. So, yeah, it's been a while since he's been in that area.
Not sure what Mentosman is doing here. Trying to fill up on hearts or bombs?
Maybe bombs, because he did run out of bombs on his way here to Mire, so thought he could maybe quickly grab like an 8-bomb drop or something.
Ooh, gets nailed by that chain chomp. And we got a cold stare. Khloe gonna check out Hobo and then hopefully swim over to Zora next.
Mentos will need to be careful with this Cold Stare fight, because Cold Stare does do 4 damage even with Blue Mail, so need to be very careful with that.
Yeah, it's not a fun fight with the Master Sword. Alright, Khloe is going up to Zora. We'll grab that shovel. Oh! Ooh. Mentosman unfortunately taking a death.
Khloe is going to finally pick up that shovel, which will put him en route to the Titansmiths.
Mentosman gonna pick up some bottles, or some potions rather. Probably just go straight back to Mire, I think. Or I may try somewhere else first, hope to find a tempered sword.
It may not be a bad idea to go to somewhere else, because, I mean, he does have both items from Meyer already, but looks like he is going to continue on just to get this boss done.
And Khloe finally grabs the Titan's Mitt and is going to head to the Meyer area and desert as well.
This will give Khloe the Ice Rod when he goes in the desert, so that's going to be one more item down for him.
Yeah, and so, yeah, once he does that, I think both these runners will be even on items. At least on required items.
And right now, they're still even when it comes to bosses as well. Like, both of them have completed 5 dungeons at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, that death to cold stare for Mentosman, definitely a big time loss.
And it makes it even more even when you consider the fact that one of the dungeons Khloe has to finish is just the back part of Skull Woods, which is honestly no different than what Mentos is doing right now, and just getting back to the boss with everything cleared out already.
Yeah.
Okay, so Khloe will be picking up the Ice Rod shortly. And Mentos going in for round 2 against Cold Stare. Okay, the outer shell has been broken. Let's give this another shot. Opting for some hammer hits here. Does tempered sword damage, so definitely a faster way to get down this boss. Does take a hit, but is safe from another one just in case. Half heart, may want to be careful. Gonna use that blue potion. Get the fire rod back out and finish up Cold Stare. Okay, that is dungeon number 6 for Mentosman. Khloe Prower are going to be working on his 6th boss shortly. Now, at this point, I imagine Mentos is going to go to the Eastern Pod area, because a lot of items over there. Don't think he's even checked Sahasrahla yet, so definitely the densest location we have for him at the moment. Khloe doesn't quite get the 1 cycle on the 2nd phase, but does finish him up and gets his 6th dungeon completed as well. Okay, so this is still the search for the Bombos medallion. At this point, the only place where that Bombos medallion cannot be is it can't be in Turtle Rock, because we actually need the Bombos to get in there, and it can't be on Pedestal either, because Turtle Rock is the last pendant we need, so right now it really is looking like it might be Ganon's Tower, and we still have 3 items in Ice Palace as well.
Yeah, and I can't think of any overworld locations we haven't seen yet. Maybe Purple Chest? Don't know if anyone's done that.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Of course, there's the tablets that we could do if we find the book.
That's true, yeah, that's still missing. Oh yeah, there's also a Super Bunny Cave as well, apparently.
Did Mentosman really forget Super Bunny Cave?
Chat was confirming that that did not get shown.
That seems hard to believe, but maybe he did.
Yeah, apparently Mentos didn't check the green pendant either.
Wow. That was just arrows, if I remember. Khloe did that really early.
Yeah, fake powder would break the logic, but at the same time, like, for all we know, like, the Bombos medallion could be behind the powder anyway, so... It could break the logic, but it could also just skip ahead in the logic, too, to where we need to be.
Yeah. Alright, Mentosman on to face his, it was Helmasaur in here, I believe.
Helmasaur number 3, anyway. Could be more, for all we know.
Yeah. Alright, takes down Helmasaur. And Khloe gonna grab the big key from its vanilla location.
And as I see in chat, yeah, we do have the Pyramid Fairy as well. That's another thing that I don't think's been disproven with a hint yet, so that could also be something to aim for as well.
Yeah, Mentos can actually do that now that he's beaten Eastern.
Okay, interesting.
Mentos going to go into pod, so he will be picking up his silver arrows at some point here, I assume.
Yes, waterfall was checked. That was where our lamp was, actually.
I did see a question in chat earlier about the silver arrows. They only work on Ganon in hard mode, so neither player able to use the silvers on any of these other bosses here. Did either runner do AGA 1 yet? No. We have already checked the lumberjack ledge. It was nothing important there.
Yeah, it was only a piece of heart, so the runners know that in confidence they can basically wait till AGA 1 until they finish Ganon's Tower when they're right there on the pyramid where they can mirror over to it, so they're not going to be concerned with that.
Oh no, Khloe.
Cold Stare taking no prisoners today.
Yeah. And Khloe is going to nope out, actually, and come back later. I think this is a reasonable decision. Tempered Sword would make, or even Bombos would make Cold Stare quite a bit easier.
I think another reason Khloe. I guess there would be a magic pot halfway through before getting to the dark room anyway. But you know, like you said, may want to come back later with a sword. Maybe even also stock up on some potions as well. We do have the money for that after all.
Yeah. Alright, Khloe gonna head to Death Mountain. Just recently got the Titansmith, so he's got a lot of checks to do here.
Yeah, could be hoping to run into that Tempered Sword, for example. So we'll see what's in Super Bunny Cave too.
So you see Khloe using a little glitch that lets you go through those blocks with the hook shot. Nice little time save in Super Bunny Cave.
And here we go. What do we have inside Super Bunny Cave? Some rupees and a piece of heart, so Mentos is not going to be punished for making that skip.
Alright, Khloe gonna do Hookshot Cave, and then we'll go to Turtle Rock and find the bad news that he is not in go mode. Getting harassed by a dead rock there.
Yeah, they harass you no matter what dungeon or what place they're in.
Alright, Mentosman going to the back of Pod. Won't find the bombos he's looking for, but will grab the silvers.
Khloe does make it through Hookshot Room, gets a nice little health refill as well. And here's the info that Turtle Rock cannot be completed right now, so we're going to have to do something else. At this point, Khloe isn't going to, but could have decided to go to Ice Palace there, because
Yeah.
we have both items from both Skullwoods and Misery Mire for Khloe, so would know that there'd be new information there, but this is probably going to be the pyramid play.
No, Khloe hasn't beaten Skull Woods.
Oh, okay then. Never mind then.
I'm not sure where he's going exactly.
Oh, wait. No, it's not Skullwoods.
Okay, never mind. I thought Skull Woods was the other 5-6.
No, it looks like it was Eastern and Desert were the 5-6.
Oh, I was mistaken. Okay. So we do have Pyramid Fairy.
I see what you mean, though. When you look at the Mothula icon, it kind of
Yeah.
looks like that, the star next to the bottom of it.
Yeah. We got bombs and more bombs. Okay, so I think Ice Palace probably is the next play outside of GT.
Meanwhile, Mentos looking to try to make a home run logic break play here.
Oh yeah, we've not seen this because Khloe decided to turn in the mushroom earlier. It's a tempered sword.
That's a good, it wasn't Bombos, but that's going to be a very useful tool to have for the rest of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, so if Khloe does not find another sword, that's definitely giving me an advantage for Mentosman8.
Yeah.
So Tempered Sword is the maximum level of sword you can get in hard mode, although there are still 4 sword locations. So there will be another location possible. But once you find that 3rd sword, the other one will just turn into rupees.
Yeah. So it's going to be probably more likely that Khloe will find his tempered sword somewhere else at this point.
Yeah. Alright, first item in ice is a piece of heart. Looks like Mentosman also is headed towards ice.
This is his last crystal, too, so if Bombos is not here, I imagine he's going to go straight up to Ganon's tower and see if it's in there.
Yep.
And if it is, pray that it's on the lower floors so you can mirror out, take care of Turtle Rock, and then save yourself a trip from having to go up Death Mountain again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at this point we can say it looks like Mentosman definitely has a bit of a lead. As Khloe has still not completed Skullwoods and Mire. Although he only has to go to the back to do the bosses, it will still be several minutes of time.
Yeah, particularly for Misery Mire, too. That is quite a trek back there. We did get the hint that some bombs and some bombs are behind a big red bomb.
That's one of my favorite hints.
Yeah.
That's almost as good as some cash can be bought.
Yeah, that is pretty good. See, this will be good for Mentos the way you routed this, because with the hints that he'll be getting, he'll know that he can avoid Pyramid Fairy too.
Yeah. Yeah, Mentosman is really, like, all throughout the seed has just made some gambles that really paid off well.
Mm-hmm.
Getting those boots early out of the back of Thieves Town when there was only one item left there. And going to Catfish early to get that mirror. Khloe, unfortunately, lost a lot of time by going to the Zora area without the flippers and was unable to get the shovel on the Zora's ledge. And, of course, the shovel led to the Titansmiths.
Yeah.
So Khloe ended up last locationing that. Khloe finding a hint for the silver arrows in Palace of Darkness, which both players have already. Khloe heading up the right side of Ice Palace. Mentosman not far behind.
Khloe will need to be a little careful, down to 2.5 hearts.
Yeah. There is a couple of fairy pots where he can grab some health if he wants to. And there's the Bombos.
There it is. Bombos has been found. Both of our runners will be in go mode shortly.
Yeah. So, Khloe's just a little bit ahead in Ice Palace, but still has to go beat those two bosses in Mire and Skull Woods.
Oh. The Hinox bumps into Khloe. Those guys do a lot of damage, so unfortunately Khloe will have to restart Ice Palace and make their way through again as Mentos is approaching that Bombos medallion himself.
Yeah, chat also pointing out Khloe is not going to be getting that sword from the Magic Bat either. So if he doesn't find that fourth sword, will be stuck with the Master Sword for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. So as we're going through Ganon's Tower, pay attention to any red rupees we might find along the way. Those could be potential sword upgrades for Khloe later on.
All right, Mentosman coming up to the boss. What do you think we're going to see here? Hey, it's a Moldorm.
Not just any Moldorm, a four-eyed Moldorm.
Yeah.
The addition of eyes doesn't add anything. It's more of a visual thing, but they're always funny to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, Randomizer has some pretty funky visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now this tournament doesn't use it, but Palette Shuffle is a part of Randomizer, which completely changes all of the colors in the game.
Oh, looks like Mentos actually going to be paying a visit to the Waterfall of Wishing here, getting some capacity upgrades.
Yep. Probably not a bad idea to have those extra arrows. You'll notice they cost $200 each in hard mode. In normal mode, they're normally 100 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Mentos going to make his final Death Mountain ascent. So he'll be going, probably I assume he'll do Turtle Rock first, then head over to GT. And then of course he'll still have to do Aga's Tower. But he will be doing Aga 2 before Aga 1.
Mm-hmm. Just a convenient way to route that in when you're doing all dungeons. You land on the pyramid after Aga 2. And literally, you mirror and you're at the front door of Castle Tower. And then once you're done with that, you'll go back to the pyramid. So it's a very nice way to route that in all dungeons. Assuming that the logic works in that fashion and there's nothing on Lumberjack or you don't need him for Dark World access anyway.
Yeah. Khloe taking a bit of damage on the way to Moldorm, but has no trouble with Moldorm himself.
Yeah, much like Mothula, Moldorm, generally pretty free fight when you're not on his vanilla arenas where you can fall off. So definitely nice to find those bosses whenever they're available.
And so Khloe still has to go finish off Schoolwoods and Meyer. Gonna stop in for some potions first.
Yeah, I can understand kind of waiting a bit on Skullwoods, just due to the fact that Khloe had both items and didn't have the boss excess when he was there the first time. And as we mentioned earlier, the arenas in Skullwoods can be pretty brutal, so,
Yeah.
you know, you may want to try to get some extra hearts or Tempered Sword, if you can, anyway, before that.
Why is Khloe a doggo? Chloe's actually a foxling.
Yep, one thing offered by the randomizer is there's a bunch of different sprites you can choose whenever you randomize the seed. There's up to like over 100 by this point, so there's a lot of different options to have, and it can be fun to pick your favorite. You know, there's also stuff you got to consider as well, like sprite height and how much of the shadow you can see as well, so... bunch of different things you can choose on the randomizer site.
Alright, Khloe off to face, what was here? It was Landmo, wasn't it?
Yes. Actually has a bit of a sword advantage over what Mentos had. I think Mentos only had fighter sword at this point when he was fighting Lemno.
Alright, Khloe finished with Schoolwoods. Still has to head to Meyer.
And we'll be seeing what the Turtle Rock boss will be shortly.
Yeah.
As I said before, this is a case where any boss can appear here just because the arena is so big, so really any boss can work.
Well, we get another Mothula, so this will be a pretty easy fight.
And he's already gone.
Yeah, he didn't even have time to launch any of his fireballs.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get this started very quick. We have a bit of a game we like to play on speed gaming channels, just for these races in general. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the big key can be found. So in chat, numbers 1 through 22, if you want to guess or predict where that big key is going to be, get those in now, because we'll be needing to stop it very shortly here as we're entering Ganon's Tower next.
I'm going to guess number 12 today.
I always go with 8.
All right. All right, Mentosman going right side first. One and 2, small key and compass.
And with that small key, he is going to be going to the right side where we have 4 more items. 5 potential if you want to check out Tile Room here, but no one wants to check that early because it's a very long check. This race has been going on for a while. You do not want to lose a race due to Tile Room.
Yeah. All right, chests 3, 4, 5, and 6 coming up. All rupees. So I wonder if one of those could be a sword.
That's true, yeah.
Khloe making his way back to Cold Stare for round 2. And number 7, the torch, more rupees.
And with that Bombos medallion, Khloe will have a lot more fire rod shots to work with here, so should be a bit more comfortable with fight.
And Mentos grabs a bottle, a key, another rupee, and a key. So that was, what, 8 through 11?
That is correct.
All right, and here's number 12. That is a rude spike. And just a green rupee from that. Alright, Khloe, Prower finished with Meyer. Now up to Go Mode, Turtle Rock, and then head to GT.
And yeah, just to clarify, in hard mode, the sword upgrades after you got them all will be just normal red 20s. They're green 20s in swordless, but in just hard mode, they're red rupees.
Chest number 13 with our fire shield.
And next up, we have the Rando Room. 4 more chests to look at in here.
$16 is the book, and 17 is the Cane of Burna.
Trying to fill up on all those items that we haven't seen yet.
So number 18 will be Bob's chest, and 19 through 21. If the big key's not there, it'll be behind Ace Armors. Khloe remembers there was a red bottle there, so chooses to go up this way, so you can grab that.
Okay, it's not number 18 either. Going into Ice Armos. 1/4 chance of being on Tile Room as we get blind on ice.
This does not look like an easy fight.
No, the addition of Ice Floor makes any fight more difficult. This one especially, since you're already trying to avoid, like, a bunch of projectiles going around.
Yeah. Mentos just barely gets through with 2.5 hearts.
There it is.
Number 19.
20, actually.
Never mind, 20. You're right. And congratulations to T-Rex, who was the first sub or supporter to guest number 20.
And with that, Mentosman will be making his way up the gauntlets. Gauntlet can be a very interesting section in Randomizer. You know, normally you have to deal with just, like, generic troops of that you see throughout all the dungeons of the game. I find that when I go through Randomizer, it's usually those shadow guys that just kind of hide in all the corners of the rooms. So we'll see what kind of layouts Mentos will get.
We've actually not seen too many shadow guys, which is kind of unusual for Randomizer. Usually they're all over the place. And also those BMOs will be replaced by a random enemy as well, which I find tends to make the gauntlet usually easier, but not always.
Yeah, definitely.
So far, just a bunch of Moldorms and mini Helmosaurs. This has been one of those easy gauntlets so far. Oh, there's some shadows. We got another Helmosaur. I think this is what, our 4th Helmosaur so far? Very laggy, especially with those extra fireballs. Oh, Mentosman down to 1 heart. I think he has some potions, though. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and use one of them. And Mentosman onto these rooms that normally have whiz robes. And into the torch room. Khloe Prower making his way to the boss of Turtle Rock, which was Mothula. Khloe Prower still hasn't found that second sword yet, so hopefully for his sake he'll find one in GT. And we got a Vitreous up at the Moldorm 2 spot. Just fires a bunch of arrows, no problem. Not gonna check any more chests, doesn't really need to. As Khloe finishes the final dungeon outside of Aghanim. Ooh, just barely misses a double there. And I guess a triple. And gets it done. And Mentosman is off, not quite to Ganon yet, still has to do Aghanim's Tower.
So yeah, he has to mirror right here. Can even bonk over the hole if he really wants to.
Which he does.
Mm-hmm.
And Khloe Prower into Agate Tower. Let's see if he picks up a sword on one of these chests that turned out to be rupees. Why are silvers marked? Both these players have silvers, but with this being hard mode, they're not able to use the silvers until they reach Ganon. Ooh, the dark maze looks quite unwelcoming with chain chomps everywhere. Oh, and we got some Lionels. Haven't seen too many of those this seat. This room looks quite a bit easier, though. Alright, Mentos coming up to the last floor here. Khloe Prower continues the long hunt for the big key, which we know is behind Ice Blind. And Mentos coming up to Aghanim. So if you guys want, you can throw out a guess in chat on how many blue balls we're going to see. Could be anywhere from 0 to 15, as long as he doesn't miss any shots. And he's going to use the bug net for no reason other than for fun. Khloe Prower picking up the book and the blue king, both pretty much useless at this point. All right, Khloe Prower coming up to Ice Blind. And Mentosman finishes off Aghanim. And is warped conveniently right to Ganon.
And thankfully now, those silver arrows we got back in pod will be working now, so we can use those in the last phase and should make quick work of them.
Yeah, he just has to remember to enable them.
Yeah, that is true.
Khloe Prower also using Cane of Samaria strats on blind. Gets it done. And there's a Tempered Sword for Khloe. Unfortunately, just too little too late.
Little too late for the match, but definitely a welcome find, though, for sure.
Alright, there's one silver arrow, just needs 3 more. Should get 2 here at least. And wow, great. Phase 4. Gets it done in just 1 torch cycle. So, get your GGs in chat, folks, for Mentosman, who is our winner today.
Yeah, very well executed, very well routed from Mentosman, and no, it was a pretty rough seed, especially with some of those boss conditions, so definitely did a great job with taking care of all of that.
Yeah, and Mentosman official SRL time is 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 1 second. So I'm going to ask him if he wants to come in for an interview. And he has joined the waiting room. Hey, and we're joined by Mentosman8. GG.
I don't feel like it was, but my routing early game worked so well that it saved me from playing terribly.
Yeah, no, you made some pretty good gambles early on. Going back to that last chest in Thieves Town to get the boots, and then going to Catfish to get the mirror. Khloe had skipped both of those, but luckily he got hints for both of them as well.
Yeah, it's nice. Plus that, I almost gave up on that chest in Thieves Town after I kept just running into the meat grinder trying to get there. Like, no, I put in this much time.
Yeah, no, the persistence paid off there. And then, yeah, early game it was kind of hard really to tell who had a lead. But Khloe, I think the biggest difference really was Khloe had fake flippered to get to the Zora area, and so orphaned that shovel, which of course led to the Titan's mitts. And yeah, he didn't get back there. Basically, last location, the Titan's mitts. And so from that point, I think he was just kind of behind you by a bit for the whole rest of the race. And also never got to Magic Bat to get that temper. Did eventually get one in GT.
Yeah, I saw that. I was real happy to see one in GT, because I would have felt bad just having the only sword anyone can find be behind fake powder. That would have been awful.
Yeah. Well, this was a real interesting seed. It was wide open very early on. I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes in when you had Dark World access.
Yeah, I think that's actually why my early game routing worked out as well as it did, because the time I played most of this game was when I was practicing for the Key Sanity tournament back in the beginning of the year. So having a nice, clean Dark World loop like that was 100% a Key Sanity style route. So I just kind of went with it, and it worked, I guess.
Yeah, you were being very thorough. I think like you were basically not leaving anything behind if you could help it. Which, yeah, I think is kind of also the normal strategy in Key Sanity.
I do got to give shout-outs to Lamb Molus and Skull Woods. I never knew I could hate that boss that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much anything in that boss room is not usually that fun to deal with.
Yeah, so with this win, you will be finishing your run of the group stage with a 7 and 8. Did have kind of a rough start at the very beginning, but at the second half of the group stage, you really kind of tore off and really got a lot of wins. And you're kind of in that situation where you need to kind of force a tiebreaker now at this point for your only chance to get in, no matter what. But how overall are you feeling just about this run overall, and like what do you think your chances are? Because this is a really highly contested group for sure.
Yeah, starting out in particular, I was 0-6, so the rest of the remaining matches, not counting the one from Megawatt dropping out, I ended up being 6-2, which is ridiculous comparatively. But yeah, this Group F is ridiculously competitive. It has been super fun to play with all these guys. And now I just gotta hope that JP and Sabo don't win more than one apiece.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely best of luck to you, man. And, hope it works out for you to at least get that tiebreaker, because that would be really epic to see for this group.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the low percent chance of the 4-way tiebreaker coming up.
I didn't realize Megawatt had dropped out. But yeah, I see it there. Because he's 6-9, so he had a few wins and then had to drop out, unfortunately.
Yeah, real life stuff came up that he had a drop for, so unfortunately I had a couple of us, get a free win, which kind of throws off the balance of the group, but at the same time, there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah. So we see Khloe Prower finishing off with Vitreous. Checks that last chest. Just gets a map.
Almost coming up to the stupidly difficult Aghanim's Tower.
Yeah, there was a lot of chain chomps in there.
Chain chomps and Lionels everywhere.
Yeah, that was annoying.
So I missed when my credits were rolling on my computer. On my monitor, I should say. How many deaths I had. I'm kind of curious and kind of horrified of what that number is going to be.
Well, coming up very shortly on the screen here. And Khloe with a pretty nice Aga 2 fight. So unfortunately, my co-commentator Slim Kirby had to take off, but I want to give him a big thanks for commentating with me.
Kind of odd little note of the tournament. The first race I did for the groups was against Savotender in an open randomizer, and it was Slim Kirby and PKR on commentary. And then the last race of the groups is Slim Kirby and you on commentary. It's like, hey, there's some connection there.
Yeah, only 8 deaths actually. That's not that bad. You like as many of them to be intentional deaths, though.
That number seems so much lower than I thought it was. I was expecting at least like 15.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you had to mirror pretty early, so you didn't really need to do too many intentional deaths. Prower making his way through the dark maze, and all these chain chomps and bombs and lasers flying everywhere. Gets through okay, though.
So I'm curious, was Khloe's Go mode Bombos as well, or was it something else?
Yeah. Yeah, Khloe actually hit Go mode before you did, by about a minute or so. But still had to finish off Skullwoods and Meyer, whereas all you had left at that point was Ice Palace and Turtle Rock.
That makes sense. I was so happy when I got the Ice Rod, and I remembered, oh wait, T-Rock needs Bombos, so guess I gotta keep full clearing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that Ice Rod not required at all. We never saw a single Trinax. Yeah, I think the only item we haven't seen was the magic powder. Probably on Laser Bridge at this point. I think we've checked just about everywhere else.
Say like Laser Bridge, Mimic Cave, the top 4 chests in GT. That's pretty much all I can think of.
Khloe checked some of those chests at least. Not quite sure why, but why not? I guess when you know your opponent's already finished, you might as well.
Yeah, I know I tend to do silly stuff when I know I've already lost as well. I also just realized it could be on the tablets. That'd be rude.
Could be there. Could be Tower Room, GT Big Chats. I don't think anyone ever checked Purple Chest as well.
Oh, I actually figured that I was alone in skipping that one.
Oh, I think you both did. Khloe Prower using the sword. I noticed you decided to go with the swag net.
If it's just easy enough where I feel comfortable doing it in a tournament race that actually matters.
Yeah, have you been practicing that for swordless? Or even inverted, maybe?
Truth be told, I've mainly practiced it for the meme of using the bug net on Aghanim.
Okay. Why not? Alright, Khloe finally able to attack Ganon. Just has to remember to switch to those silver arrows.
I almost forgot to think about that for a moment, and I'm like, wait. I think it's the easiest thing to forget in hard mode.
Oh. Khloe taking a death. Was trying to use the cape, I think, but just a little bit too late. Yeah, the cape has a weird kind of thing where when you switch to it, it takes like a second or two before you can actually turn it on. And that's got me more than a few times.
I know it's at least gotten me in Spike Cave several times.
Yeah. Khloe using the wall hug glitch there to save magic. So if you're using the cape and you grab onto the wall, it does not drain your magic. Which normally you see used in Tile Room in GT or in Tower of Hera, but it's also a little bit useful in Ganon sometimes. Oh no! Khloe taking a fall. Having a bit of a tough time on Ganon here, but heads back up. Remembers to grab a fairy from this tree that you can get when you bonk off it. Alright, third time's the charm, I hope. Oof, Khloe down to 1 heart. Has a blue potion though.
Going back through locations, trying to find the powder.
Khloe gets nailed by Firebat, but luckily doesn't fall off there. Alright, one more hit. And that'll do it. So get your GGs in chat for Khloe Prower. And Khloe finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 7 seconds. So we'll see if he wants to come in for a chat. Alright, what a race. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of it just kind of turning out just that shovel really kind of threw things for a loop there. We see Khloe's in the setup room. And we're joined by Khloe Prower. GG.
Hi, GG's. Oh boy.
Oof, that was a interesting seed. It was very wide open early on. What was it, 7 minute Dark World access?
Yeah,
so there was a ton of options early on. Yeah.
I mean, the seed. I can't fault the seed because it was really trying its best to put me back on track. Breaking into and getting that lamp early, I was like, oh well, I might as well go do Death Mountain because I can get Hera done real quick. And then it was really trying, like when I did Eastern Palace, it's like, hey, you know, the mirror is here, you can go get that. And then I skipped out of Thieves Town, and then the seed's like, hey, you forgot the boots back in Thieves Town, so go get them.
Yeah.
But it tried to bail me out so many times, and I just was not listening.
Yeah, I think those that shovel leading to Titansmiths was kind of the toughest part, since you weren't able to get that.
Last location, that.
Yeah.
100%, I know.
Well, that's unfortunate, but yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest difference between the two of you.
I felt like it was, because I'm like, if he did literally anything different to get the shovel earlier than me, I'm totally behind.
Yeah, he went into Village of Outcasts pretty much right away and got those flippers, whereas you went down towards, let's see, South Shore and you did Death Mountain and stuff.
I could see that route working out so well. You had hammer gloves, you could finish Thieves Town, you could, or if he didn't do Thieves Town, he would still have gotten Fire Rod flippers. He would have been able to go south.
Yeah, actually, he did Thieves Town early on and was really persistent to get those boots. He didn't even have the hint at that point, but it took several, like at least 2 deaths in Thieves Town trying to get those boots.
That was a rough Thieves Town. There was a ton of guards there.
Oh.
Less of a Thieves Town, more of a fortress.
Yeah. Yeah, we were saying, like, in Randomizer, since you don't have to go back and bomb the floor and all that stuff, the back of Thieves Town, it's really just becomes kind of like left side swamp, where there's no reason to go there other than for items.
I mean, when I cleared Thieves Town, I had 3 items. My guess was that the last one was hopefully nothing.
Yeah.
Because I found Fire Rod and Quake in there, and that's 2 unique items.
Yeah, no, it's lucky you had that hint.
So see, my reason for actually going to the back was I miscounted items. I thought I got 2 up front, and then I went through the remainder and was like, oh, I got 3.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, we were wondering, because we were like, this is an awful lot of time to invest for 1 item location. So that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I mean...
Also, I tracked down the powder. It was on Laser Bridge.
Oh, okay. There was... Yeah, keys were too easy to get in Turtle Rock, so there was no point to check Laser Bridge.
Yeah, powder was the only item between the two of you that we never found until just now.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, Mentos is a great runner, so I knew I was going to be put through the ringer in this seed as it was. Yeah,
actually, you were in go mode first. Like, you both kind of went into Ice Palace. I think you were about a minute ahead in Ice Palace. And you got Bombos just a bit before Mentos did. But you still had to finish off Meyer and Skull Woods, whereas Mentos had already done those.
Yeah, that Meyer death. For some reason, when that room is enemized to Cold Stare, it just really... Yeah. I don't know what it does to my inputs, but it, like, eats them.
Well, Mentos also took a death on Cold Stare, actually.
Yeah, it probably ate his inputs, too. He didn't need those.
Who needs inputs?
I know. And then I heard, because he mentioned in the chat here that he was able to find Tempered considerably earlier than me.
Oh, yeah, it was on Magic Bat. He used fake powder to get that. So you didn't find one till Yagan's Tower.
I was contemplating it, but that Eastern Palace hint, it's like, oh, well, Mirror's up here. I was like, well, you got the mushroom in Eastern Palace. Why don't you go turn it in, too? And yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a risk, I suppose. Well,
I mean, I'm a fan of following logic, so that's why I wasn't too concerned about it, but the fact that it was a sword was rough.
Yeah.
So, Khloe, I gotta say, I'm really, really pulling for you to win your last 2 matches because I want to see this 4-way tiebreaker happen.
Oh, that would be crazy.
It's JP and Savo, though, so it's not like it's going to be like, oh, yeah, I could just win these.
Oh, definitely not. But with how close this group has been, we know anyone can beat anyone by this point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I have a match against Savo tomorrow morning, and it's very similar to what we rolled from what I remember.
Oh, it's scheduled already. I got the schedule right here.
Oh no, it's a retro. That's right.
Hard retro.
We got a hard retro. Uncle Surge Lord. So it's only 3 swords. I guess I don't have to look for that. I have to still look for the other one, I think, just because that means there's only 3 swords in the pool.
Do you have much experience with retro?
I've done 2 seeds.
Yeah. I think that's more than a lot of people when they started this tournament.
I mean, retro is a lot like Key Sanity, to be honest. It's just, it's like Key Sanity, except you can't use the bow, is the way I look at it.
Yeah. It does make some very interesting situations running up into GT where people have to conserve their money.
I think I remember like really amazing race where he was entering GT with like 100 rupees. Everyone was so psyched about it. And then there
was that the one where there was a big 20 in the last chest?
I know, and chat went wild. It was
that gave him just barely enough. Yeah, I think I was watching that.
Oh gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah, I'd never played retro before, but I always thought it sounded kind of boring. But after seeing races like that, it can be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, retro it's different. I don't know. There's some weird things involved in it. Especially if you find a lot of money earlier, it's a lot easier. But hard mode retro means they take another 5 keys out of the pool, so we might just end up sitting at like the Thief Cave and farming money.
Yeah, or the archery game even.
Oh gosh, yeah. I actually learned how to do that because of my match against Jet. Specifically for that match.
Yeah, well, I learned that because of inverted, but I can see it being useful in retro as well.
It was even better before they fixed the glitch in V30, where just being in the arrow game and firing your bow gave you infinite money.
I did not know there was a glitch that did that.
I remember there was something about an archery game abuse, but I never looked into what it was.
Yeah, it was found back during the beta testing of V30, and it was just every time you pulled your bow, you got money.
Pose for the camera.
All right. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts about the seed or about the tournament?
I mean, I came into the tournament not expecting to get as far as I have, so the fact that I'm at this point is super exciting, and I really hope for this race off.
Yep. Yeah, no, that would be quite something to watch. Anything else, Mentos?
I'll throw in one more GG to Khloe, as well as if this is my last race of this tournament, I'm really, really happy with the fact that I managed to turn around that ridiculously unlucky start I had and put together something this good, because that should not have been possible with the people in this group. I don't understand how I did that.
Yeah, I know you had quite a back and forth tournament. All right, well, GG to both of you guys. make sure to give these guys a follow. I threw up the link to their Twitch streams in chat, Mentosman8 and Khloe_Prower. I'm Etium, and I was joined by Slim Kirby. He unfortunately had to leave just a few minutes ago. Our tracker today was Phantom Black Ice, so great job. Thank you, Phantom. If you're looking for more Randomizer, we have starting at 2:30 Eastern, so in half an hour, Gem versus Super Nin Taylor. That'll be on Speed Gaming 5. That'll be Open Hard Key Sanity. And a little bit later at 4:30 Eastern on Speed Gaming 4, that'll be Shady Force versus Mikan. And that'll be All Dungeons Standard Hard Key Sanity. So a couple of Key Sanity matches coming up. Yeah, make sure you follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6, as well as ALTTP Randomizer and ALTTP Randomizer 2 through 5 if you want to catch all the action for the rest of this tournament. So I've been Etium, and GG to both of you guys. And yeah, I'm going to say have a good afternoon, everyone.